Hi everyone, I'm Xander Johnston, aka AntBoy. I'm just a normal schoolboy living in the Cairngorms National Park in the Scottish Highlands, doing all the normal things a kid my age does. Going to high school, spending time on my smartphone, playing video games on my Xbox, playing my fiddle, and keeping my bedroom messy to the disgust of my mum and dad. But I also have a passion for nature. I'm a bit like Bruce Wayne and his alter ego Batman. By day, a normal schoolboy, but when the weekend comes, I'm AntBoy. My speciality is the little guys, the insects, especially ants. Because without insects, the whole ecosystem would fail. That's why I spend my spare time, along with my dad, helping to protect some of the rarest and most special species of insects in the Cairngorms. And along the way, sharing what I've been doing on my YouTube channel. This is why I've been invited along today, to share with you what got me into conservation, the key work I'm part of, and what you guys can do to help the little guys. Hopefully, you like what you hear today, and if you do, I'd love it if you could head over to my YouTube channel and hit subscribe. My journey started about 4 years ago when I moved with my family to Aviemore after having lived in Edinburgh all of my life. Up to this point, I'd always loved creepy crawlies and nature. But moving to the Scottish Highlands is when I became passionate about it. A few months after moving, my mum signed myself and my dad up for a Cairngorms Nature Big Weekend event in Carbridge, learning how to identify different types of wood ants. And literally 5 minutes into the event, I was hooked and wanted to learn more about these amazing insects. Later that year, I entered the Cairngorms Nature Young Presenter competition, where I submitted a 90-second video as my audition. Surprise, surprise, it was on ants. Here's a wee sample of what I entered.
Hi, I'm Xander and I'm here in the Cairngorms, not to talk to you about animals such as dancing deer or the scorpion osprey, but to talk to you about some of the little guys. So that's why today I'm going to talk to you about
ants. After having watching the video, the Cairngorms National Park were so impressed with my passion and enthusiasm that they awarded me the first ever Cairngorms Nature Young Ambassador title. Shortly after this, at the age of 10 years old, I became a nature volunteer and began to take part in surveying for the national park, looking for rare or endangered insects like the narrow-headed ant, where we recorded the most northern narrow-headed ant's nest. This is when I met Gabriella Flynn, who just become the project manager for the rare invertebrates in the Cairngorms, or the RC6 as we know them, and myself and my dad signed up to be part of the volunteering team. The Rare Invertebrates in the Cairngorms is a 3.5-year funded project supported by partnerships between RSPB Scotland, Cairngorms National Park, Bug Life, Butterfly Conservation Scotland, and Scottish National Heritage. The project is serving for and looking to protect 6 of the rarest and endangered species of invertebrates found in the Cairngorms, some of which are found nowhere else in the UK, like the pine hoverfly, where you may have seen me on Countryfile back in December with Sean Fletcher talking about what we are doing to conserve this very special yet critically endangered species of hoverfly, but more on that later. The 6 species are the northern silver stiletto fly, the Kentish glory moth, the shining guest ant, the pine hoverfly, the dark bordered beauty, and finally, the small scabious mining bee. Along the way, I've had the pleasure to meet some amazing people, including Gabby, Haley as well from Cairngorms National Park, along with some faces you might recognise, like Nick Baker, the One to Watch team, including Chris Packman, and my dad's favourite, Kate Humble. Sorry, Mum. Some cool stories I'd like to share about the RC6 are finding wood ant's nest with a shining guest ant present in locations it has never been found before. These are literally minutes walk from my house in Aviemore, and in finding them, I've helped firm up the theory that they prefer to live in wood ants' nests that are part of a mixed forest of pine and birch. These ants are difficult to find, as you need to sit alongside a wood ant's nest for 10 to 15 minutes looking for this tiny ant that is dwarfed by the larger wood ants. A whole lot of the way, the wood ants are making their way up your trouser leg or defending their nest by spraying formic acid in your direction. The shining guest ant is amazing, as it has developed a distasteful coating, which means the wood ants leave it alone, and they can live together in the one nest. Typically, the shining guest ants will find a twig within the wood ant's nest, hollow out, and take residence with as few as 10 to 20 shining guest ants per colony. Another cool story has been while serving for the Kentish glory moth. Like most moths, to attract males, the female Kentish glory produces pheromones, which the males detect using their fluffy antennae, allowing them to find each other and mate. Rather than running around looking for Kentish glory moths, some amazing scientists have developed a man-made version of these pheromones, which we use to attract the males, so we may identify if they're present in an area. The male can detect these pheromones from up to a kilometre away, and will fly towards them in the promise of meeting the lady moth of his dreams. Unfortunately for him, is as he finds, and a bottle filled with cotton wool and the man-made pheromones. But for us, this is groundbreaking, as all we have to do is wait 15 to 20 minutes and count the male moths that we find. Last year, while using the lure, I managed to get some on my finger, so when we closed the lure over and moved off to our next site, I was followed by a number of male moths, hoping they found one giant mate. Fun fact, the Kentish glory has no mouth parts, and so can eat as an adult. How boring must that be? I'd be crazy not to mention the pine hoverfly, the blyerfalx, or the rarest of the RSE6 species. You've almost no chance of ever finding the adults, so we go looking for the larvae instead. The larvae are found in natural, or more recently, man-made rot holes. These rot holes are pine tree stumps filled with wood chips and water, which allows the sugars in the wood chips to be released into the water, an ideal place for bacteria to grow, which the pine hoverfly larvae feed on before pupating in the surrounding area. Then in June, the following year, they emerge as adults to spend 4 weeks looking for a mate, to start the whole process over again. I was lucky enough to share this with the nation when I appeared on Countryfile back in December, giving this tiny and critically endangered species of hoverfly some important TV time, and hopefully helping towards its conservation. Because last year only a total of 60 larvae, you heard right, 60 larvae were identified, showing how critically endangered this species is. Over the last 2 years, a real difference has been made around our understanding of these very special 6 species of invertebrates, including where they live, the life cycle, and just how rare they are, with the next year or so being devoted to helping expand their habitat and helping increase their numbers. If you'd like more information on the RC6 project or are interested in becoming a volunteer, I have a pile of pamphlets with me to hand out, so come and have a chat with me or my dad at the end. So, what can you do? There are around 100 or so people here today, and each and every one could do your part. You need to know that you don't have to be an expert to make a difference. Simple changes like growing some wildflowers in your garden, or building a bug hotel and hanging a nest box, or even volunteering on a local conservation project like I do, makes a huge difference. This list on screen shows a few things you can do to help protect your local species of insects and birds, the foundation of the whole ecosystem. We need to get away from thinking that a short-lived lawn is important and let the grass and dandelions grow to give nature a home in your garden. And it's also important to rewild yourself. Spend more time when out using your senses. Appreciate nature. It's like things like looking, listening, touch, smell, and even taste. This is a message I'm helped share with my partnership with Scotland the Big Picture team, with recently being asked to become one of the young rewilders. They have some great ideas on their website on how to get involved, how to work with children to do the right thing, and how to get back to nature. Check out the website for more info. I can also recommend their books. However, if you don't know where to start, then how about attending one of the upcoming Cairngorms Nature Big Weekend events? It's where it all started for me. They have something for everyone, with 60 different events on offer, from mini beasts to land management. I'll be there, based in the car bridge in the landmark butterfly and ant house, chatting about the insects and ants you can see in the local area. Well, thanks for listening to me today. If you like what you heard, check out my YouTube channel to see some videos on the RSE6, some other information on things such as how to wild camp and leave no trace, and a series I recently filmed on insects. You can find it by going to www.xanderjoe.co.uk. And remember to subscribe if you like what you see. And finally, if you want more info on the RC6 or want to chat about ants, then come and say hello over lunch. Thank you.